don't. You're not selling anything.
The Fed's not done, and I'm going to tell you why.
Welcome back to Sean's show, everyone. It's episode 50. I really can't believe it. 50 episodes of accusing Elon Musk of rape. I really can't believe we did it. You, the listeners, have allowed me to set up a show where I pretty much singularly accuse Elon Musk of horrific crimes. And so I want to thank you for being a listener. If you're new or if you've been listening since episode 1 or episode 49, welcome to Sean's show. I really appreciate your patronage because I know you have many options in the podcasting world, so it means the world that you would choose my retarded show to spend your time. So thank you. And we have a lot of stuff, in a lot of ways, the assassination comes at this as sort of a gift to the 50th episode. The assassination attempt is sort of a gift so that I didn't have to write anything for this episode because we can just talk about the assassination attempt for an hour and a half. And so thank you to Thomas Crooks for doing that. And shout out to Thomas for a valiant effort that ultimately failed. No, I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know. You know, I don't know about you guys. I'm still sort of digesting the assassination attempt because in the moment that it happened, I was actually in a green room. I was backstage and I was at a show in DC at the Howard Theater. Incredible shows. And we were, myself and another one of the openers for the show, the other guy, my good friend Chai, turns to me and he goes, "Dude, Trump got shot." And I was like, "You're fucking with me." And he's like, "No, man, he got shot." And I was like, holy fuck, like we're witnessing history right now. And cut to now, I feel like it's gone. Like, I feel like no one even cares. I really feel like we are so numb to political violence. That's like a new thing. I think our cut, like, let's really remember what happened. A guy who probably jacked off to hentai, climbed onto the roof of a building, aimed a scope of a sniper rifle at a presidential candidate and just barely missed. And we move on from it like we care more about the Kendrick Drake beef as a society. And that to me is scary, that we care more about whether or not Drake is a pedophile than whether or not the CIA gave this guy money to shoot the president. Chill candidate, obviously. But, you know, I have the same takes as everyone, right? Everyone, everyone was joking initially. Oh, well, he must have been a liberal because he missed the shot. And then he turns out to be a Republican. I have all the same takes as everyone. Yes, it's very scary for our democracy. Yes, it handed Trump the election. Yes, I have all those takes too. You know, I would have recorded this sooner, but I don't have the financial means to get stuff out quickly. So forgive me for my delay. I'm not on episode 500. I'm on episode 50. So just forgive me. But it was, I'm still processing it. I'm still digesting it. And I feel like the whole world moved on. I really want to highlight that people don't care. Like I was kind of hoping that we were going to be talking about this like we talk about the JFK assassination. And I guess the difference is that JFK actually died. Maybe the real difference between this and JFK is that Trump didn't die. I think if Trump were to actually be murdered, I think, not only would it be a sea change in politics globally, but I think we'd pay way more attention to this guy and his internet searches. And, I was reading on Twitter, like his internet searches and stuff. He was actually a listener of Sean's show. He was a listener, which was cool. I don't think I compelled him to do it, but no. He was in a BlackRock commercial, which I thought was funny. That's since been deleted. He was, I guess, and this is all misinformation. I don't know if this is true or not. Apparently, the guy was tried out for his rifle team in high school, and then he like didn't make it. Like he was rejected from his rifle team. I could be wrong about that, but just a very odd duck. I think he got a $500 scholarship for like being a math scholar. He was good at math and science and shit. I mean, I think the scariest part was that he had a fucking IED. Did you read about that? He had like an IED in his car, like ready to go. What was interesting is he didn't have any search history. So here's one. The conspiracies are flying all over, right? And here's one I read on Twitter like just now, on X, that I thought was crazy, which is that he had an explosive device in his car in the parking lot at the rally. But the analysis from the FBI shows that he didn't have any like search history about researching how to make a bomb. So one of the conspiracy theories is that the CIA, maybe the CIA, told them how to make a bomb. I don't know. That's a conspiracy. It's flying around. Some people are quick to believe that shit. I personally am not. I think that again, guys, I'm an ex-incel. Like I made it out. Like I wasn't an incel. Like I was like, I wasn't an incel, but I was a loner. I was in high school. Like I didn't fuck. Like I wasn't cool. Like I was playing Magic the Gathering in high school. You understand? Honestly, the FBI should hire me to investigate Donald Trump's assassin, because I was just like him. I played Magic the Gathering, never got my dick sucked, and I was in like track and field. I was a weird dude. And, not that I had thoughts of like ever assassinating a politician. I joke about it often, but I would never actually do it. But I think it's really, I want to know? I want to know if the Trump assassin had GameStop stock. That's what I want to know. I feel like there's an overlap between the men that are obsessed with GameStop and a proclivity to aim a rifle at a politician. I think there's a I think that Venn diagram is a circle. I think that the people that really love GameStop and they're obsessed with that kind of like culture and Citadel and trying to understand like how the intricacies of the financial plumbing works. There's an overlap between that and wanting to put a bullet in Donald Trump's head. I think there's a big overlap there. So again, it's actually, let's go into the questions. I got a question related to this from Gary. Gary, thank you for the question. Send me your Venmo, dude. I'll pay you $5 as I always do. But let's take a look here. Gary has a question about the assassination. Do you think the assassination attempt was real, fake, or was the shooter not aiming for the president, but something else? Cough, cough, another Kennedy running for office, or the Tupac concert hologram? That's a great question, Gary. I like your train of thought, because I was actually thinking it would be very funny if this was a shooter that had like a beef with someone in the audience. Like, I think maybe he was actually mad at that dad that died. It'd be funny if like he got on the roof and he just wanted a clear shot at this dad in the stands and he accidentally grazed Trump and he wasn't even. It'd be funny if the shooter actually hit his mark, which was the dad, and he just happened to graze Trump's ear. That would be crazy. But, do I think the attempt was real or fake? I mean, it definitely happened. So it was definitely real, Gary. It was definitely a real attempt on his life. Like, it actually occurred. People are so lost. You know what I mean? Like people are so lost that they don't even understand what occurred, what occurred and what did not occur. I think let's just start here. We can all agree that the event occurred. You know, like people are so fucking, they're so crazy now. There's so much noise and bullshit in the media and on social media that, like, you know, people forget what's real. So it occurred. Now the question is, was it real? Was it fake? I mean, it's the real question, I think, Gary, is who's behind it? Who's behind it? And I think that it really remains to be seen who's behind it. I honestly, and the sad part about it is we will really not know who's behind it until like 50 years later. Like 50 years from now, the government of the CCP, which will release a report on who was behind the Trump assassination. Like 50 years from now, when Trump is cryogenically freezed and China has taken over the United States, they'll release a report in Chinese about the identity and the motivations of the Trump assassin. That's the reality that we all have to accept, because like we're not going to find out who it was. We're not. There will always be people who think it was the GOP, that think it was the Trump campaign trying to do a false flag to make Trump a god figure, you know, because it was obviously the best. That bullet was a gift. Truly, the bullet coming for Trump's head was a gift. It won him. It did win him the election. I mean, it's basically game over. The amount of Americans that are so politically apathetic. You know, honestly, again, I'm still never going to vote, but like, I'll keep it real. It almost made me vote for him a little bit. Like not almost, but like I've never voted and I never will. You know, you can, I am a hardline cynical political guy. I'm never going to vote. The system's fucking retarded. You can suck my dick. Every American politician and the donors that support them can choke on my fucking dick. Truly. Choke and die on my fucking dick. My small penis. Because I'm not going to vote. Because it's bullshit. You're playing, you know, whatever. You guys know why I don't vote. But I'm not going to lie. I'm going to keep it real. Seeing that photo made me I had a little twinkling. You know when you like kind of have to pee, but you don't really have to pee? That's kind of how I felt looking at the photo of Trump pumping his fist. Like I felt like that was, I almost felt a little bit of a tiny urge to like maybe vote for him, but I'm not going to do it. But like, that's me. I have strong resolve. Think of all the Americans that are just like, you know, go with the gusts of wind. Like they go with the wind, wherever the wind takes them politically. They're all, the gusts of wind are going to carry Trump to victory. They really are. Because it's just such a badass photo and we love a story. You know what's more important than the truth? Storytelling. And the story of Trump almost getting shot is such a great story. It doesn't matter who the guy, Gary, that's the real answer to your question. Was the attempt real or fake? It doesn't really matter. What matters now is that Trump showed up with a bandage on his ear to the RNC. That's what really matters. Doesn't really matter if the assassination happened or not. What matters is that Trump showed up and everyone is playing Many Men by 50 Cent. That what matters, the assassination and the assassin and his motives, they don't really matter. What matters is that people played Many Men over the photo of Trump with blood on his face. That's really the product of the event. And he's going to be, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fucking landslide. I think it's going to be a landslide. So, your other question, Gary, which candidate will this help the most in the polls? Which candidate will this help in the polls the most? I mean, I think the obvious answer is Jill Stein. That the moment that the shooting happened, I was like, Jill Stein's going to be president. Everyone's going to be talking about Jill Stein and Elizabeth Warren. You know, Elizabeth Warren, I was like, this is great for her. This is great for her campaign. Trump almost getting shot. I mean, this is great for Native American candidate Elizabeth Warren. Obviously. No, I mean, yeah, man, it's a landslide. I think it's a Trump landslide. It's going to be, we'll see. I mean, he's polling right now. He's polling a lot better than Biden. But like, we'll see if the lead sticks. We'll see if the lead sticks. I mean, it's a long time till the election. November is still pretty far away. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I think that it's up to, it's really up to Trump to fuck this up. It's really up to Trump to whiff this now. I mean, there's really almost no way that he loses. There's really no way that he loses this election. And I think what will be more interesting is after he is elected and he's the president elect, what's the discourse? What's the reaction from the right? What's the reaction from the left? I mean, is it going to be a civil war? Is it going to be, is it going to be a repeat of January 6th? I don't know. From the left, like, I mean, almost certainly there's going to be civil unrest. No matter who gets elected, almost certainly, unless it's RFK, I think if RFK gets elected, I think that is the only way that we would not have civil unrest. Because I think but that's never going to happen. It's, and again, I'm not a conspiracy, like, I don't want to like subscribe to these conspiracies that people are saying about the shooter and like being trained by the CIA, being trained by the deep state to kill the president. Like, I don't want to subscribe to those conspiracy theories. Is it an impossibility? No. Is it a probability? I don't think so. I think that this was a kid who, again, I think he was really into Magic the Gathering. I think he liked wearing camo. I think he liked wearing camo. I think he liked to wear camo and ghillie suits and play Call of Duty, and he wanted to be famous. Like, I get it. That kid and I have something in common, and it's that we want to be famous. He took a little bit of a different route. I think a quicker route, than I am. Starting a podcast is a longer road to fame than trying to shoot a Trump. But we have that in common. And I don't know. I feel for the guy. I kind of have sympathy for this guy, because did you see the photo of his fucking skull being ripped open by the Secret Service? I mean that's the photo. I think the real photo that people are not like, the real photo that people are overlooking right now is the photo of the shooter with his brains blown out on that roof. You know what I mean? I mean it's like, that was a photo. That was a crazy photo. I mean, he's dead. So we will really, I don't know. Again, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. But I think he definitely, if I had to I'm not a betting man. I am a betting man. If I had to bet, I would wager that this guy played League of Legends. He maybe was into trading crypto, and he had a crush on a girl. He had some unrequited love. Who I blame for the attempted assassination, for the attempted murder of Trump? I blame the woman who didn't suck the assassin's dick. That's who I blame. Whoever this assassin definitely had a high school crush, a woman that he loved deeply, and she didn't love him back. That's who I blame. That's who I blame for the Trump assassination. You want to talk about conspiracies? Here's a conspiracy. I don't think the CIA trained this guy and trained him on how to make a bomb and how to shoot a rifle. I don't think the CIA is involved in this. I think This guy had a crush on a girl in high school, and she didn't love him back, didn't suck his dick, didn't take his virginity, and he went crazy and he shot the president. I blame Jessica. I blame her. I blame Sarah. I blame, you know what I mean? I blame Emily. That's who we need to be blaming here. We need to be blaming the woman who didn't suck the assassin's cock. That is why he shot the president. And honestly, here's my real take. This is why you listen to Sean's show. No one else has this take. If sex work was legal, that Trump would not have been shot. Stay with me. If prostitution was legal in Pennsylvania, in this county where this man shot at the president, it wouldn't have happened. He would have gone to a whorehouse. He would have felt what a vagina feels like, and he wouldn't have had the urge to kill. You know, from The Simpsons, urge to kill, lowering. Like that's literally what it is. You know, and that's what I'm campaigning on. You know, legalize prostitution. If we legalize it's the solution to all our problems, guys. If we legalize prostitution, there will be way less school shootings. There'll be way less political violence. I think, honestly, the hate groups on either side, whether it be like radical people on the left in Antifa, whether it be neo-Nazis, whether it be like crazy libertarians that want to, like, I don't know, burn down all the government buildings, all of these people, if they just had sex, I think these groups would be a lot smaller. I think we could stop war. I truly think that war would stop if we just legalize prostitution. And that's something that, like, you know, people don't talk about, but it's true. But Gary, thank you for your questions. You have a third question. Gary, if you send me your Venmo, I'll give you $15 out of my fucking checking account. I'm not even kidding. You can get $15 US for all of your questions. So I appreciate it, Gary. Gary, your third question: how do I write a good resume without writing a book? Honestly, bro, like, you're basically the head writer of the show at this point. I'll punch up your resume for free. Like, I'll help you. If it means, Gary, that you won't shoot at the next presidential candidate, I'll help you punch up your resume. If it helps you get back on track. No, dude. Honestly, it depends on the industry. Like, a lot of like again, I was studied engineering. I worked on Wall Street, so I know what a good resume looks like. But it really depends on the industry that you're looking at. You know, if you're looking to create a resume to get into like a white boot kind of law office, or like a really prestigious job in engineering or in finance, you know, it's important to have a thick ass fucking resume. You know, you have to jam it all onto one page. Here's you know, I mean, you know, this isn't really comedy, but like, you know, people that have like 2-page resumes, it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like the people that complain about not being able to get a job, they have like 2-page resumes, and they bought shoes at Target. It's like, of course you don't have a fucking job. You look like shit. You look like shit. If you apply to a job online with a 2-page resume, you might as well put a gun in your mouth and pull the trigger. I mean, truly, like, you're lost. Like, you are deeply lost. Honestly, applying for a job online is such a big waste of time. You know, it's these AI, and you know, with these AIs, they scan your resume for certain keywords and they auto reject you. And it's really, you know, like, if you can't see through that, that's why you don't have a job. Because you got to see through the bullshit, you know, of the job application process, Gary. You have to. But yeah, man, I would say just, you know, you got to cram it. It's important. My one advice, here's my advice, Gary. You want to write a good resume, what you want to do is you want to take a step back. I want you to take a step back. And I want you to smoke crack. I want you to smoke crack cocaine. And I want you to look yourself in the mirror. And I want you to just jack off to yourself in the mirror and get hyped. That's what you have to do. Because so many people, they write their resume and they don't like lie. Like you won't lie? Like you're an American citizen and you're not lying. How about you have to lie? Like it blows my mind when people write resumes for themselves and they don't lie. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you not? You're not going to lie? You should be lying. You should lie about your accomplishments. If you don't lie, because guess what? I was not these days, but when I was trying to get a job in finance, you don't think I lied? That's the whole point. If you want to get a good job, if you want to get a bullshit job where you make $200K a year working on a laptop where you can just smoke weed all day and fuck around and Uber Eats local restaurants, like Uber Eats the local Italian restaurant and jack off all day and make $200K a year. If you want that job, you're going to have to lie. Because you know what you do at the job? You lie. That's what it is. When all of these bullshit jobs where you're sitting on your laptop all day and you're fully remote and you make a bunch of money, you are lying on behalf of a corporation. I don't care what part of the company you work in, whether you work in accounting or finance or marketing or HR, you're constantly lying. And if you want to get that job, the companies, if they're going to hire you, they need to know that you're able to lie to them. Because if you can't lie to them, how are you going to lie for them? If you can't lie to the company when you're getting recruited and when you're getting in the hiring process, how are you going to be able to lie and stretch the truth on their behalf for their products? You won't be able to. So that's what you have to do, Gary. So how do you write a good resume without writing a book? Just fucking lie, dude. Lie about what college you went to. Lie about your GPA. Lie about your experience. Lie about your skills. Lie about everything. And then when you get the job, you can just learn on the job. That's reality. And, you know, it's a truth that I think a lot of people have trouble accepting. You know, it's like a lot of people, I think, let their pride get in the way of achieving their dreams. A lot of people let the truth get in the way of achieving their dreams. You know, like, and I want you to remember, I want you to like I'm like an evil Gary Vee. Well, Gary Vee is evil, but I'm like Gary Vee. I'm like, fuck content. Just lie. Fuck making 50 pieces of content a day. Fuck college. I'm like Gary Vee with a little twist. I'm like, go. College is a waste of time. It's a waste of time. College is a waste of time. Lie. Just lie. You want to lie? It's not about hustling. Just lie. When you're typing up your resume, just say you went to Harvard. Did you go to Harvard? Doesn't matter. Lie. Like, literally, that's what I think. Like, people don't check. They don't vet you. And if it, think about the waste, the filth, the true waste of a life that's reviewing your resume. Do you think that they're going to take the time to look up your GPA? Do you think they're going to email your college and go through the work of emailing your college to get your fucking transcript? And if they request your transcript, it's time to learn Photoshop and just Photoshop your fucking GPA. I'm not even kidding. Like, what do you have? It's not illegal. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? A job at Sonic? Your integrity? You have no integrity. You work at fucking Sonic. It's time to get your shit together. It's time to lie. But that's all I'll say, Gary. We have a question from William. William and Gary, I think you're the only two people listen to the show. I love you guys. I really do. I mean, here we go. Question from William. Do you think Trump, Biden, BlackRock, or the Clintons were behind the assassination attempt? It was everyone. They're all on a team, William. Trump, Biden, BlackRock, and the Clintons might as well be the same. You might as well have just said John, and John. It's the same fucking people. They're all friends. You ever see like Obama hanging out with Bush? Or I think there's a photo of like Hillary or Obama, or like, I think it's a photo of Bush laughing with Hillary. Like, these people are friends. They have so much in common. They're political dynasties. Like, don't you think that the different political dynasties trade notes? They do. You know, and BlackRock, like these massive, again, I almost worked at BlackRock. I've been inside BlackRock's headquarters at San Francisco. I've met very, briefly when I was in college, but I've seen how these guys think, how they operate. I've met senior portfolio managers at BlackRock in San Francisco. And I think that a lot of the, and I saw his calendar. He showed us his calendar, and he was taking meetings with pension funds. He was taking meetings with political candidates. I'm sure he takes meetings with political candidates to discuss donors and to discuss strategy. But it's not this, I think with BlackRock, it's just important to remember with BlackRock, it's not this smoke-filled room where you have the senior leadership at BlackRock smoking cigars and like molesting children and injecting adrenochrome into their blood. Like, that's not what happens at BlackRock. It's a pristine environment. It's a boardroom. It's a boardroom with glass windows that overlooks San Francisco, that overlooks the fentanyl addicts. You know what I mean? Like, that's what BlackRock really is. Again, in New York, there's a BlackRock office in New York. It's in a massive building. It's not like you're in a secret library where there's like a secret door, where the Illuminati meetings take place. Like, I would hesitate to say that. Now, were they behind the assassination attempt? Absolutely. This guy was casted in a BlackRock commercial. I mean, again, our mind, it's easy for our minds to go in these directions and think, oh, okay, well, he was, there was a connection. He was trained, BlackRock wants Biden to get in office because the Democrats are favorable towards BlackRock. But remember, Trump is the Republican candidate. And it's important to remember that, like, I think that a Republican candidate would be way more beneficial to BlackRock than Biden. Well, and that's a speculation, but again, no matter who gets elected, BlackRock wins. So it's like BlackRock doesn't have a need to shoot Trump. Like, they don't have a need to do that, because no matter who gets elected, they're winning. They're winning. You know what I mean? Because they've played it right. They have the ESG funds. They have the environmental social governance funds that play to the left, but they're also a fucking hedge fund. So like, they play to the right. So I don't know, man. I mean, I really think that it just remains to be seen, Williams. We will see who was really behind it. Like, was he really just a lone shooter that went crazy and got broken up with and snapped? If I had to bet, I would say that that's most likely. But again, you look at the Secret Service, and a lot of people are talking about how that was it's funny. I mean, it really was funny, because if you read all the reports, the Secret Service blamed the local police for not covering that roof. I mean, it was kind of a layup. It was a layup of a shot. And, for the Secret Service to not have someone on the roof that was pretty much the only roof that needed to be covered within a good 1,000 feet of the stage. Obviously, that raises questions. And you have the Secret Service blaming the local police. But again, this is like a rural town in Pennsylvania. Do you think the local police have any competence at all? These are dumb hick rednecks in the fucking middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like they were probably listening to Joe Rogan during the rally. You know what I mean? Like, they're not covering, they're literally on TikTok. I can't tell you how many times, and I'm not just shitting on redneck cops. Cops in general are dumbasses. Like, I can't tell you how many times I'm going into the subway and I see like cops that are patrolling on TikTok, scrolling on TikTok on the job. Like, they don't do their job. So I blame the Secret Service. I do. I blame the Secret Service for trusting the local police to do anything right. That's who I blame. Because it's your fault for giving It's their fault for giving the local police any sort of that's a critical responsibility. To guard that roof, to make sure there's no shooter on that roof, is a critical responsibility. And it should have gone to someone in the Secret Service. And the fact that it went to, like, you know, fucking Joe Blow the cop was guarding the roof. I mean, that's the real question. The real question is, was that incompetence, or was that malicious? Was it maliciously purposeful that they didn't guard that roof, or was it just negligence? And I do believe the quote, never attribute to intent what you can attribute to incompetence. And I feel like it could just be plain old government incompetence. But again, I'm not a shill for BlackRock. I'm not trying to say they aren't guilty, because they may very well be guilty. But who knows? William, your other question, do you believe this to be an attempt on Trump's team to overshadow his recent legal problems, as well as more Epstein things coming to light? Kind of like the 1992 movie Bob Roberts. Never seen that movie, William. I will have to check it out. I'm sorry I haven't watched it. But do I believe this is an attempt on Trump's team, or I'm assuming by Trump's team, to overshadow his legal problems and more Epstein things coming to light? I mean, dude, it could be Trump. It could be Trump. It could be a false flag by Trump to distract from the court cases. He's just so funny, man. That's why he deserves to be president. He's very funny. He goes, Russia, Russia, Russia. I don't even know what Russia, Russia, Russia is. Like, the genius of Trump is that he knows that Americans are retarded. And that if you just make things silly and digestible, people will believe anything you say. He goes up there in the rally. He's like, Sleepy Joe tried to come at me with the false court cases. Sleepy Joe tried to come at me with Russia, 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 and I beat it. It's like just funny. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what Russia, Russia, Russia is. And I don't think people do either, but they just like to hear him talk. They like to hear him talk. So anyway, that's my delayed coverage of the Trump assassination attempt. But we'll see. I'm going to keep covering it. We'll see where it goes. But again, guys, I don't want to turn to the next Alex Jones. Like, I really don't. I'm not like, that's not, like, I want to be funny. Like, this is a comedy show. I don't want to entertain conspiracy theories the whole time. Because ultimately I do just want to make fun of everything. But it's because it's really important to make fun of both sides. It's really important to, blame everyone. You have to blame everyone and make everyone mad, or else you do become like a shill. I really think that, like, with we see it with a lot of personalities online that, like, excuse me, guys. We see it. A lot of personalities online, they start out, and this won't happen to me. I promise this won't happen to me. You can cut this up when it does happen to me, but this won't happen to me. A lot of people, they start out as like joking around, having kind of a fun, lighthearted podcast, and then they slowly drift to the left or the right because that's what does well online. And believe me, guys, William, Gary, the other audience, my current small audience, I'd rather make you guys laugh and have fun than have a big audience where I'm just like shitting on Joe Biden, or have a large audience where I'm just shitting on Trump, because those are boring. It's just so boring to be like, the Kathy Griffins of the world, where like I'm like, dump Trump. Like, it's just boring. Or on the flip side, you've got like these conservative comedians that are just kind of like pandering to the right, and it's like both of those things fucking suck. And it's like, you got to be real. Like, it's very important that, like, I want you guys to keep me in check. I want to be real. I want to keep it fucking real, because, and put me in check if I'm ever like pandering. Like, I'm not trying to pander, like I'm trying to have good, funny, interesting takes. And so with that being said, I blame Thomas Crook's ex-girlfriend. You want to know who's behind the Trump assassination attempt? It's Thomas Cook's ex-girlfriend. She broke up with him, and that shattered him. And I get it. I once had a love in high school. I once loved a woman in high school. And when that didn't work out, I was ready to kill everyone. I was ready to shoot the president at the time. I was ready. I was looking up assault rifle. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. But like the pain of losing your first love will make you do crazy things. Maybe what happened is BlackRock and the CIA paid Thomas Crook's girlfriend to break up with him. And that's what radicalized him to shoot Trump. That's my take, okay? And don't tell me that's left or right. That's my fucking independent take. But let's move on. And again, it's like let's take a look at the let's hop over the pond to Switzerland. If you're a longtime fan, you may have remembered a joke I did on the very first episode of The Thoughtless Experiment, my old podcast, where my co-host and I, Tony, joked about these suicide pods. And we made a very funny joke called Pete's Pods, which was a joke about so Switzerland there's a company in Switzerland that's designing suicide pods where you can go and pay some money and die. And it's legal. And we were joking about how if that were to happen in Texas, it'd be funny if there was like a commercial for that. Like, hey, I'm Peter. Why don't you come on down to Pete's Pods? Does your wife hate you? Are your kids fat and retarded? Come on down to Pete's Pods. You can kill yourself for just $9.99 a month. Come on down to Peter's Pods. So it was a fun joke, and I want to return to that joke. So if you're a longtime listener, then I want to shout out to Pete's Pods. That's for my really old fans. I don't even know if anyone's been listening that long, but this is fucking crazy. I mean, what is going on in Switzerland that they feel the need to like make it easier for people to kill themselves? So let's take a look at this article. So the company that is creating the suicide pod in Switzerland is called The Last Resort, which is a little bit on the nose. I mean, can't you at least call it like something less dark? The Last Resort? I mean, Jesus Christ, you're going to call your suicide pod company The Last Resort. That's the name that you went with. That went through the focus groups. That's what you chose. How about something fun like, The Last Podcast? I don't know. How about something fun like, I don't know, like, Boeing, the Boeing pod. That's what, honestly, I don't know if you've heard this, guys, but it is a crazy story. I encourage you to look it up, but basically there is a company that is designing these pods that you enter and you are, and you die. It's a death pod. You go in the pod and you die. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the company, but the company's name is Boeing, and the product is actually the 737 Max. It's a very interesting product where you walk in and it's a legal form of suicide where you basically are aware that you're going to die and you still do it by getting into the 737 Max, because at this point, the real suicide pod is a fucking Boeing plane. It would be funny if Boeing like made suicide pods and then they failed and then you're still alive. And honestly, I want to be hired by Boeing as a consultant. I have a lot of good ideas for Boeing. I feel like if Boeing hired me as a consultant, you know what I would say? I'd be like, look, fuck planes. What you need to be doing is, since you already fuck up, all your engineers fuck up and planes crash, what you need to be doing is building suicide pods. Because if you make suicide pods and the suicide pod fails, you're saving lives. That's the direction you need to be going in as a company. But moving back to The Last Resort, in real life, there's a real company that is making these pods. And here's a quote from the chief executive, Florian Willett. This guy sounds like a fucking asshole. Again, I'm against suicide pods. I'm against I'm against this Silicon Valleyan nudging behavior to like nudge people into killing themselves. Like, and that's, again, this is from like, let me just look up, because I talk about this a lot. So I want to like just give you guys some background on this theory. So there's like nudge theory. Let me read you this. And Silicon Valley deploys this theory in every one of their products. Next time you use a product, think about this. You may already know about this, but nudge theory is a concept in behavioral economics, decision making, behavioral policy, and related behavioral sciences that proposes adaptive designs of the decision environment as a way to influence the behavior and decision making of groups or individuals. Nudging contrasts with other ways to achieve compliance, such as education, legislation, or enforcement. So let me just explain that in plain English. Basically, it's a nudge is like when you get a notification on your phone. So like if you think about it, these companies, they want you to be on Instagram all the time. They want you to be on Facebook. They want you to be on TikTok. So in order to nudge you in the direction of using these apps more often, they'll send you a notification. That's a nudge. Because if you didn't get the notification, you wouldn't be on Instagram. But it's like they tap into your subconscious lizard brain to like get you to do things differently, to manipulate you. It's a way to manipulate you. So going back to the suicide pod, there's this like this like tech company in Switzerland is making a suicide pod to nudge people into killing themselves for money so that this guy can make money. I want to see if he raised venture capital. I want to see if this raised money, because this is a sick, it's a sick company. It's a sick company. I'm doing some research here. Like I want to see if it's funded by the government, because that to me is just, it's insane. Because like, guys, you can always kill yourself. I'm not advocating that, but I'm saying like, we don't need to make it easier. You can just shoot yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, this stuff is really sick. It's really, here we go. It's just like, I don't know. I can't really find any information on it, but more information. But let me look up the chief executive. I want to see what this piece of shit looks like. I know this is a little bit offbeat, but I want to find out what this guy looks like. Florian Willett. It's not on his LinkedIn. I don't even know if it's the same guy. This guy is in Switzerland. But anyway, I want to do a deep dive into this, because this is a crazy quote. Here's what he says about the suicide pods. I cannot imagine a more beautiful way to die, of breathing air without oxygen until falling into an eternal sleep. It's just crazy. So here's how it works. The person climbs into the purple capsule, closes the lid, and is asked automated questions such as who they are, where they are, and if they know what happens when they press the button. If you want to die, the voice says in the processor, press this button, said Sarko inventor Philip Nietzsche, a leading global figure in the rights to die activism. And here's a photo of like a woman standing next to the pod. I mean, this shit's unbelievable. I guess it's like in the, at the dentist when they give you the gas to like knock you out. I guess they do that, and then they just deprive you of oxygen. So within 2 breaths of air of that low level oxygen, they will start to feel disoriented, uncoordinated, and slightly euphoric before losing consciousness. They will stay in that state of unconsciousness for around 5 minutes before death will take place. We will be able to see quite quickly when that person has died. Once you press that button, there's no way of going back. I mean, it's a really, it's just so, like, to me, this is scary. Apparently, they're like, The first person to use it is like going to be this year. Check this shit out. So, I mean, like what? Like this is like literally out of Futurama. Like Futurama had these death pods where you just go into the phone booth and it just vaporizes you. It's real. Stewart said the only cost for the user would be 18 Swiss francs, $20 for the nitrogen. Okay, that part is crazy that you're charging someone who's about to kill themselves money to use the pod. That is sick. It's sick. It's sick to imagine you're gonna go, your life is shit and you're sad and you're depressed and maybe you have cancer and you're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna end it all. And you go there and it's some dumb bitch in a fucking branded shirt, like a branded yoga t-shirt, and she's like, welcome to the pods, that'll be $20. And you're like, here you go, okay. And then she has to ask you these questions and she's like all excited. I would honestly, if I showed up there and I had to talk to the woman that operates the suicide pods, I may very well want to kill myself because she's probably like a peppy HR cunt bitch. You know, she's like, welcome to the suicide pod. Can I take your order? Like, that's what we're at. That's where we're at. It's sad. And like, again, I'm not saying that like, again, we have to draw like what is going on in Switzerland that like this is happening. Cause like we have to draw a line somewhere. You can't, this is why like ethics is important. You have to draw a line somewhere because like you have like, you've got, again, if you're a terminally ill cancer patient and you're in an incredible amount of pain, by all means, kill yourself. By all means. I think we should support that. That's fine. But if you're just like depressed, you're just like if you're like a fully physically healthy person and you're just like depressed, like you don't have chronic pain and you're just mentally depressed, like you shouldn't be able to just end it. That to me is a very slippery slope. You know, if enough people end their lives, that's my core listener base is people that are depressed and suicidal people and people that are on the verge of snapping. I need you guys. If you guys all start jumping in suicide pods and ending it all, how am I going to sell ads to you eventually? You know, that's what's important. So it's really it's scary. It's a scary time. But let's move on. Here's some. Let's jump back over to the United States. I do want to cover some space news. I do love some good space news. So the U.S., if you don't know, the U.S. and Saudi Arabia just signed an agreement for joint space exploration and research. The U.S. and Saudi Arabia are obviously close allies, and the this is an interesting it's an interesting development. You know, the United States and Saudi Arabia are collaborating on space exploration because you have to hide the dead journalists somewhere. I don't know how many dead journalists Saudi Arabia has in their royal palace, but you gotta hide them somewhere. Space is a pretty good place to hide dead journalists. So I'm glad. This is good. It's a good development. I'm glad that the United States is helping Saudi Arabia conceal the corpses of the journalists that they've executed because they've spoken out against Saudi Arabia. I'm very glad. I'm very glad about that. It's good. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson signed the accord representing the U.S., while Saudi Arabia Space Agency CEO Mohammed bin Saud Al Tamimi signed on behalf of the kingdom. I mean, it's like, it's a kingdom. It's crazy. It's crazy that the Saudi Arabia is a kingdom. They have kings. They live in the past. And they're one of our closest allies. And that is exactly why I don't fucking vote. You want to know why I don't fucking vote? It's because no matter who's president, the United States is going to cut deals with kingdoms. Like, remember kings from the feudal era? Remember lords and kings that had unlimited power bestowed upon them by God? Saudi Arabia has that. God-given power. And we just happen to do business with them. And you know what? It all comes back to cash, folks. It all comes back to that green. I'm excited to see what they're going to do together. You know, people always joke about like a Jewish space laser. I'm worried about an Islamic space laser set up by the United States. You know what I'm worried about a Christian space laser. People are worried about a secret Jewish space laser. It's very anti-Semitic, and I don't condone those jokes. But I am worried about a Christian nationalist space laser that's going to shoot at mosques in Dearborn, Michigan. It scares me. But let's see what we got. Let's see what this development goes. The commission describes itself as actively working on the development and expansion of the space sector as part of the kingdom's broader Vision 2030, which seeks to modernize the Saudi economy and diversify its revenue streams away from oil. That's fucking bullshit. You're going to be using the satellites to search for oil. You're going to be using the satellites to look for the next... The United States and Saudi Arabia cut a deal to do space exploration. The reality is they're going to be using it to look at the next Middle Eastern country that they want to go to war with, to get oil out of that country. That's the deal. That's what's going to happen. So cut the fucking bullshit. Cut the fucking bullshit. It's, you know, it's getting messy up there. Space is the final frontier of war. You know, it really is. It's a combination of space intelligence and cyber attacks and nuclear weapons that fly into space. It really will be where World War III is fought. It'll be in space. It'll be cyber. It's gonna be over the internet and in space. And that's gonna have that is gonna be where the most impactful movements of the war happen. Again, if it happens, we don't know. We really don't know. Yeah, I would love to see like how that deal happened. Like, I don't know, like this asshole from NASA meeting with the Saudi. I would be scared to go over to Saudi Arabia to cut some sort of deal. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want to go to Saudi Arabia and go into the palace where they killed Mohammed bin Salman, or excuse me, the journalist, Jamal Khashoggi. I'd be freaked out. Because imagine you go there and then it's all these like, you know, Saudi royal princes and they're like, welcome. Hello. Are you ready to sign? Sign here. And you're like, sign. And then you just get fucking dipped into a vat of acid. That could easily happen. But that's an interesting story. Speaking of space, my favorite guy, Elon Musk, is moving his businesses, and we'll close out with this guy. So, the assassination attempt, and Elon Musk isn't hiding it anymore. Elon Musk isn't hiding his political affiliation, and I want all of my friends to fucking eat their words, because I was shitting on Elon from day one. Because Elon, you know, has always, I saw right through his bullshit. He's so smart because he pitched himself as this, like, you know, this innovative guy who's just an misunderstood genius. Elon, he pitched himself as this misunderstood kind of eccentric genius that had these companies, and he didn't get involved in politics. He just loves inventing things and progressing innovation for humanity, while also taking billions of dollars in subsidies. And that, you know, that's what people thought he was. But I knew from day one he was taking loans from the government. He was inventing businesses that he knew he could get billions in subsidies from California. The fucking hypocrisy of Elon Musk starting Tesla and taking hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in subsidies for Tesla, tax credits for his businesses, bleeding the American taxpayer dry of so much money. And then when California passes legislation that he disagrees with, he's just going to up and move his businesses to Texas. Again, I get it. If I was a capitalist like he is, I would do the same shit. But he needs to. But it's not for any ideological reason. He just wants a lower tax rate. He's using the ideological reasons as an excuse to move him to Texas, where he can pay a lower tax rate, because he's bled California dry of the tax subsidies, and that's why he's going to Texas. It's not for any fucking ideological reason. He doesn't give a fuck about trans anything, or election laws, or liberal politics. He doesn't give a fuck. But here's a Bloomberg story that kind of details it. In a matter of days, the billionaire entrepreneur has ramped up his embrace of the conservative movement, formally endorsing Donald Trump. This is actually crazy. Elon Musk is going to donate $45 million a month to a pro-Trump super PAC, tapping his vast fortune to influence the race. So here's the final straw, according to Musk. On Tuesday, Musk's political leaning spilled over to two of his most prominent companies, with an announcement that he plans to move X and SpaceX to Texas from California. The quote, final straw, he said, was a new ruling in the Golden State that bans school districts from requiring teachers to notify parents about changes to a student's sexual orientation and gender identity. And again, do I think that some of the legislation in California regarding parental rights and around transgender issues for kids, do I think it's a little bit extreme? Definitely. Hey, let's keep it fucking real, guys. I don't know if you agree, and you can disagree with me, but this happens to be an issue where, maybe you could brand me as a conservative, but again, it's just, I like to take things issue by issue. If an 8-year-old, again, I don't want to it doesn't really matter. And the thing is, Elon Musk is pounding the table, pretending that he gives a fuck if parents who put their kids in public schools have the right to know about whether or not they're gay or want to be trans. He doesn't give a flying fuck about that. He wants to pay a lower tax rate. That's what he wants, and that's okay. But he's a liar, and that's what I have a problem with. The reason he's moving his business to Texas is because it's convenient for him. It's convenient. And the trans issue is a convenient and it's a useful distraction for the real reasons, which is fine. It's just stop bullshitting. Elon Musk's kids aren't, you think he gives a fuck about kids? He named his kid a password, an email password. You think he gives a fuck about kids, let alone poor kids that go to public school in California? He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't. He's worried about parental rights. His kids go to a Montessori school with a bunch of other billionaire kids where, honestly, if anyone's going to be trans, it's these kids that go to these schools that billionaires fund. Those are the craziest schools of all the schools. You think public schools are going to indoctrinate your kids? They're not. California public schools are not as crazy as right-leaning media will have you think. I went through California public school system, and I turned out, it did make me autistic, but it didn't make me a woman. Okay, so let's tone it back. If anything, California schools aren't going to make your kid trans and make your kid want to cut his dick off. Your kid is going to want to kill himself because the pressure of these schools is so high. That's what you should be worried about if you're a concerned parent. That's, and that's me being fucking real. Let's take a look. Let's see. California, so for California, this is from Bloomberg, the world's 5th largest economy, the relocations may be more of a symbolic than a substantive blow. Yeah, that's correct, because you know why? his businesses don't even contribute to the tax base of California. Tesla, X, these are tech companies that find ways to avoid paying any taxes. So it's like, no fucking shit. Are they going to lose money on like the economic side of like contributing to the economy with the operation of the business? Yeah, they will. But let's take a look. Few employees were compelled to move, and the car company still maintains a huge presence in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's a symbolic move. It's not a real, like, he's not going to move his plant, including a factory in Fremont that employs thousands of people. Just last year, Musk and Governor Newsom announced that Palo Alto would be home to Tesla's new engineering headquarters. So, I mean, it's you know, it's really, there's a lot of reactions. A lot of billionaires are reacting to the assassination attempt, you know, and a lot of there's a lot of very wealthy people are racing to fund they're racing to fund candidates, you know, now that this assassination attempt has happened. And so, you know, we'll see where that goes. As far as where people are going, let's take a look here. So despite a disastrous performance at the first debate that caused murmurs that Joe Biden should step aside, Biden raised $38 million from the day of the debate. George Soros donated $5 million to the Joe Biden super PAC. Eric Schmidt and real estate developer Herbert Simon made donations to Biden after the debate. Netflix's Reed Hastings said they're going to withhold funds unless there's another candidate for the Democrats. So we'll see. I mean, Trump is leading Joe Biden in fundraising, but it's a pretty close. They both raised around 250 to like, you know, 300 million bucks each via super PACs. So, you know, it's interesting. You know, it's I think it really remains to be seen, like, where the campaign's going to go, but it's going to be exciting. I'm very excited to see where it goes. And you know, that's kind of my takes, guys. That's kind of my reaction. I mean, I really you know, it's you know, just remember, I don't know, just remember to use some critical thinking. Like, I think the reasons that like people do things are often not why they say they're doing it, especially in politics. You know, especially, you know, when you look at really crazy events like this assassination attempt, you know. I mean, I guess my closing remark here, guys, is that BlackRock gave Thomas Crook's girlfriend money to break up with him, and that made him try to kill the president. Elect, not even elect. He's gonna be the president. That's what's, I mean, you know, we'll see what happens. I could be wrong, but I'm putting it on the record now, guys. I think Trump's gonna be president. I think RFK is gonna get assassinated just because he has his last name's Kennedy. If anything, it would be crazy if like RFK is doing like a small rally for his like small. It would be funny if RFK did a rally for his like very small base, and then he got assassinated, even though he's like, there's like no way he's going to be president, and he got shot. That would be crazy. It would really stir shit up, you know. And I do like it when stuff gets stirred up, and that's not me saying you should go kill him. But remember, let's chill out. I like it. I like that Trump got shot and people seem to have just moved on. We need to move on. We need to move on from all of this insanity. Can we just calm down? Again, like, my message is, let's calm down a little bit. Let's stop shooting each other. Let's stop protesting. Let's stop worrying about the Supreme Court, and let's just fucking relax. Can we just fucking relax for like a couple years? Like, yeah, our government's failing. Yeah, we're going to have a civil war, maybe soon. I hope not. But before then, let's just relax. let's have a few more good movies. Let's have a few more good movies from Martin Scorsese. Let's eat some more hamburgers. Let's get high cholesterol and let's drink some beer. Let's have a blast. You know, let's live it up. Well, we can, because Rome is falling. Rome is burning. You know, when our politicians are getting shot at, you know, and that's, people want to tip the scales that much, that means our empire is tipping over. So enjoy it while you can. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna get a second passport. My first sponsor for the show, I would love if it's like a law firm that does second passports to like sweet Switzerland. How about this? Here's my closing remark. If you're scared about the American empire failing, it's time to go to Switzerland, get a second citizenship in Switzerland, and if things get bad there, you can always hop in a suicide pod. Thanks for listening. Guys, if you're a listener and you're in Raleigh, North Carolina, I'm going to be headlining Good Nights Comedy Club. It's a wonderful comedy club. I'd love to see you there. Tickets at seanreillycomedy.com or on my Instagram, seanreillycomedy, or goodnightscomedyclub.com. It's going to be a great show. I got my good buddies opening for me. Really funny comics. So it's going to be a very fun, intimate show. So I definitely want you to come if you're in Raleigh. Sunday, August 4th will be for the show for that. And stay safe out there, guys. Review the show on Spotify. Just give me a little review. It really warms my heart. Like the show. Tell your friends. Follow the show on Spotify. And you know, stay safe. Bye.